Hello, and welcome to Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom with your hosts, Heather and Rachel.
Together, we're here to talk about all things self-care, from fitness to mindfulness and everything in between.
Whether it's yoga, Tai Chi, Pilates, or practices like tapping and meditation, we're here to help you discover new ways to care for yourself.
We'll also share tips on positive self-talk, finding time for self-care, and creating routines that stick.
We're here to provide you with plenty of tips, tricks, and unsolicited life advice.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Join our community, and together we can explore the path to wellness. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom podcast. I am Rachel, and today we're talking about a topic that is incredibly important. So today we're talking about trusting the process. The process of what? Well, we'll get into that. The process of life, basically, and where we're trying to go and what we're trying to get done and all those fun things in between. So in a world where we get used to that instant gratification, it can be really, really difficult to slow down and kind of let things unfold naturally. So that's what we'll be discussing today, is actually trusting the process of life, taking time and cultivating what you want and then waiting for those results to come in. And this is, I know, like a huge challenge. So I'm here with my lovely co-host, Heather Rogers, who just put a post up about this on her See Life as a Muse website. So we're going to go deeper into this topic, and we're going to learn how to trust the process in our personal and professional journeys.
So I know this topic all too well. And the reason why I wrote the blog is because it is definitely a struggle for me. So those that don't know, I suffer from ADHD. And my brain is so overactive. This is why I've taken up meditation and things. And my brain is so overactive that I cannot keep one track. And so what winds up happening is I kind of get off my path, and then I want everything to happen, in that moment. And instead of trusting the process, what I do is I'm like, oh, this isn't working, so I'm going to go here. And this isn't working, so I'm going to go here. This isn't working, so I'm going to go here. So we're just going to get into it. Rachel's going to ask me a bunch of questions, and we'll try to make sense of it.
Okay. All right.
For all of us.
Well, just trust the process, and we'll get through to the end of this podcast.
Yes, literally.
Yeah. All right. So, we'll get started. All right. So, how did your recent business rebranding make you reflect on trusting the process?
Yeah. So, it definitely did. So I merged two businesses together. I am great for overcomplicating my life. I just am like, oh, that seems really simple, so that can't be right.
Yeah.
Thing.
Way too easy. Let me make this really difficult, and then I'll do it.
Right. And so I had two businesses, both holistic businesses, one with products and then one with coaching and digital products. And so I've now merged them together to kind of like get a good flow going on. I felt frustrated and overwhelmed running the two businesses. I couldn't give the attention that I needed to both of them, so I was halving it all the way through. And then I asked myself, like, am I really trusting the process to get one of these businesses like launched, up and running? And then merging the two businesses helps me to just kind of pinpoint and focus and slow down and all that stuff. So so merging the two companies together and making it just one giant holistic platform really, in my mind, after overcomplicating it, in my mind, made sense.
I know what that's like. I mean, I come from a family who just tends to overcomplicate everything, and I find myself doing it all the time and running in circles. And luckily, I can catch myself and I'm like, stop. wait,
Yeah.
like I am making a 2-step process into a 15-step process. And
Right.
that is just not, that is
Yeah.
not the way to do it. Let me stop. Let me take a breath
Yeah.
and let me think how I
And then
can
I
make
wonder
this
why
into like,
I don't have the time. I'm
yeah,
like,
right, because
because
you
I
just
just
took
made my
on
life
things
harder.
you didn't need to do. So you used a beautiful metaphor in this, and I'm like, I love the part where you compare the process of growth to planting a seed. So I'd like you to share a little bit of that metaphor with our listeners here today.
Yeah, of course. So when you plant a seed, you don't see anything happen right away. But then that doesn't mean that underneath the soil, things are growing, right? And so beneath the surface, it's developing root. The same thing happens for us, right? As our personal growth and our healing and things like that. Like it's not it's not like you just wake up and everything's grand and groovy, right? It has to take the process. You have to like nurture it and you have to water it and help it grow roots before it grows. And so, with every mindful breath, with every yoga practice, with every small step we take, it nurtures our growth. And over time, then we'll see the results, right? So, if every day you are just a 0.5% better, or you're just 1% better, right? In 100
Mhm.
days, you'll be 50% better or 100% better than you were when you started, right? So you have to look at it like that. Like you just have to know that every day that you are working towards this process, every day you're trying to improve whatever you're working on. And so it's just like you have to nurture it. You have to nurture that process and trust it. And then it blossoms into something amazing.
So yeah, like you're taking it and looking at it as its own form, like its own like living thing
Mm-hmm.
that you would, nurture and process and take care of. And that, that living thing is then you. So this
Right.
is, your life, your process, your thing. So, give it time, nurture it, and
Yeah.
wait for it to bloom. So here's one of my favorites. Here's where I live. So uncertainty is such a big part of this struggle. And I do not do well with uncertainties. You touched on this in the blog, and I want to know like why is it like not knowing
Yeah.
how things will unfold? Like
Yeah.
why does it make that trusting the process so why that makes trusting the process so challenging? So when you're uncertain and when there's like all these uncertainties and you don't know what's going to happen, like
Mhm.
what does that do? How does that make it harder to trust the process?
Well, I think for all of us, the lack of control of our situation, right, just completely throws us off kilter. It kind of just like throws us into a tizzy where we are just all over the place because we don't know what the outcome would be, right?
Right.
And we want to know how things will turn out. We want to see results, right? And when we don't see results right away, when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, we're automatically thinking,
Right.
oh my God, I am going the wrong way. It's kind of like being in a maze and you can't see the
Yeah.
end. And then you're like second guessing yourself. Maybe I go here. Maybe I go there. Maybe I go here. But life doesn't work like that, right? Life doesn't give us the end result. Life isn't like, oh, if you follow A, B, and C, you're just going to be
Right.
like wonderful. And because everybody would follow A, B, and C, right? And we
Don't
would
you think
have,
it would be great, like, if life worked like a math equation, right?
yes,
So you follow all of these steps and you
yes,
add it up and then you just get like and you always get that number, right?
yes,
So every time you take these steps, like, boom, this is what you get.
yes.
Like,
But
I
that's
want
not
that.
reality,
I want
right?
math.
So trusting the process is all about that you have to let go of control of the outcome, right? You have to
Yeah.
you have to know that whatever you're doing is the best that you can do. It's either your passion or what you feel in your heart or what you feel is right. And you have to trust that process and let go of it. And then you have to have faith in the universe that it's all going to work in your favor, whatever that looks like. It might not look like what you planned it to be at the end, but
Mhm.
you have to trust the process. By the time it's all said and done, it's going to be better than it was if you did nothing. If you didn't work on a process, if you didn't
Right.
try to develop and improve and grow and stuff like that, right? So you have to know, like, it's kind of like when you cook, right? If you're putting
Mhm.
all really good ingredients in, like, a really good meal is going to come out, right? And so if you're putting really good stuff in with the process, the outcome's going to be good. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the outcome you expected it to be, but the outcome is going to be better than if you sat and did nothing.
Well, if you sat and did nothing, you'd get nothing, so at
Right.
least there would be no dinner.
Right.
So at least
Right.
no matter how bad it comes out, you're fed.
There you
There's my
go.
metaphor. You're
There you
welcome.
go. So, anyway, the reality is uncertainty is scary, right? Not knowing is a scary
Absolutely.
thing.
I don't
And
like
our
not knowing.
brain is to protect us. And that's why, we go right into the fear factor and we make decisions out
Mhm,
of fear, not joy, and things like that. And so we have to know that change is going to happen regardless, because
mhm.
change is inevitable, right? So if you have a process for the change and you go at it with grace and gumption, it's going to wind up better than where you started.
Okay, so this kind of brings us to this next, question. So, how does someone let go of control, right? Because we all wanna control our outcomes.
Yes.
So how do we let go of that control without being, like, passive and just kind of, like,
Yes.
stepping back and letting everything and anything happen?
Yes.
Is there a way to, like, kind
Yeah.
of let go of the outcome, right, and still take action?
Yeah. So it is all about trusting in the action that you've already taken, or that you are taking, right? It's
Mhm.
about, like, the flow of life, and thinking of it as like tending a garden, right? You have to know, if you're out there pulling the weeds and watering the garden and planting the seeds and turning the soil and all the things, right? You have to know that the sunlight's going to hit the garden and things are going to grow. And the other thing is, so this is a garden story for our garden.
Mhm.
We planted so much and we didn't plant so much. We didn't pull a lot of our stuff out last year,
Mhm.
and we got zucchini that crossbred with pumpkins, right? We trusted the process. And the process turned out pretty cool because we got these zucchini pumpkins, which were pretty neat.
Zumpkins?
Yeah. Zunkins.
Alright, you'll be decorating for Halloween with zumpkins. Okay.
Yes, I will.
So there's either
And
that or, you get a very nice you feed the deer population for,
yes, but that's the whole thing. You're not being passive. You're not just sitting there and just letting things go by and just hoping, oh, I'm going to hope for the best, right?
Mhm.
You actually have action. You're doing something. And when you're in that doing something, you're creating balance. You have the effort, right? And then you have to look at trusting the process as surrender. You have to surrender to all the work that you've done and know that you're doing your best.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit now. You mentioned embracing the journey. So not just focusing on the destination. So
Mhm.
I want to talk about like why it's important to pay attention again. So the journey is in fact the process, right? So what's
Yeah.
happening along the way as we're trying to get to this potential
Yes.
outcome. Um so yeah, like so why is the journey more important than the destination?
So I just heard a quote, um, either yesterday or the day before, and it's like, if you live in the future, it causes anxiety,
Mhm.
right? And if you live in the past, it causes remorse,
Yeah,
right?
or depression. I've heard
Or
it both ways.
depression,
Yeah.
right? And so living in the here and now. So part of trusting the process is living in the moment. So when we only focus on the end goal, we're missing the lesson of growth. We're missing the path along the way and all the things that we're learning. Everything is a teachable moment, and we're missing all that. So we, when we when we only see the goal and we don't see the path that we're on, we miss all the victories in between, right? We miss all the glory of problem solving and figuring it out and doing the work, which we should be proud of doing the work. It will shift our focus from where we were to where we're going. And then we realize every step of the way is a part of the transformation.
Well, I think I wanted to bring that up too. That's like really important. I think like as we're on that journey, we're learning things and we're changing and we're growing.
Right.
As all of these things happen, and being able to stop and notice that is just, it's remarkable. Like it's almost like a small miracle. And sometimes within that process, it may change what you want your end goal to be. And I think
Yes.
like that's part of the beauty of the whole thing, is
Right.
just like kind of surprising yourself and just being aware of those moments as they come up.
And it teaches you how to pivot, right?
Yeah.
It teaches you how to, like you just said, maybe once you're in the process, you have like this great epiphany that what you were thinking of the end goal being is like, wait, that doesn't even equate right now. This
Right.
one would be so much better, right? And so, my husband has a great saying: "It's your life, get involved." And I
That's cute.
love
I
that
like
saying.
that. That's
Yeah,
great.
I love that saying because it truly is like you're like the captain of your own ship. And so if you really just, steer the ship and put up the sail and do all the things, like you're getting involved in your own life. You're learning, you're growing, you're transforming, you're teaching
Yeah,
other
I love
people.
that. That's great.
Yeah, so it's good stuff.
All right, so here we go. We're going to put this all into practice now. So we want some tips and tricks and practical ways to put this into our everyday life. So how are we going to incorporate all this good stuff?
Okay, so this is my suggestion. This is what works for me, right?
Most of the time. No.
Yeah.
On a good day.
Practice patience. Like when you feel impatient, remind yourself that it's it's growth, and growth takes time, right? You weren't born and then you woke up the next day here. Right? That didn't happen.
Wait, that didn't
And
happen to you? Because that's totally how my life worked.
no.
I woke up one day, I was 35, I had these kids. It was just,
I grew up with you. I know it didn't happen that way. I'm aware. And then let go of the control, right? Just, honestly, expectations is having expectations is,
they're joy killers.
yes. And it's just kind of like it ruins a lot. So, and I'm not telling you not to have expectations, but honestly, like let go of the control. Make sure that you're focused on what you can control and your actions and your accountability, and then focus on a good mindset through the process. And then your energy, make sure your energy is in line. Make sure that you're taking time to sharpen the saw and make the movement and do all that stuff, right? Celebrate small wins. Oh my God, I cannot express this enough, right? You have to celebrate small wins. We are so programmed to celebrate or not celebrate things that didn't go right, right? We are so programmed to point out the thing that didn't go right, how it didn't go right, how we didn't get enough done, how we should have done this, how we should have done that. But celebrate the wins. And there are always wins.
Absolutely.
I don't care what you're doing, there's always a win. You have to find it. And that's a skill. That is a skill. You have to hone in on that. You have to figure out what the wins are in each situation. Be kind to yourself. Can't express that enough.
Yeah, no.
Leading with love and compassion for yourself is huge. Remember, there's always setbacks in progress. There's always setbacks because things don't always turn out the way that you want them to, the way that your expectations tell you they should.
Mhm.
But the reality is you have to treat yourself with love and compassion. It's so important. And I've said this in podcast after episode after episode. The reality is if you are doing self-care and you don't have love and compassion for yourself, you're already missing the mark.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right? Stay present. Stay in tuned and aware of what is going on right now. Like, take time to enjoy the present moment instead of worrying about the future, worrying about the outcome. And it makes the whole entire process so much more enjoyable, right?
Absolutely, yeah, because
I
that's the point, like, why we're doing a lot of these things is for us, right? These are our
Right,
lives, like, right, so you're getting involved in your own life. We get so focused on, I think most of us on, we get this script at, like, it almost seems like at birth,
right.
and you kind of get programmed by everything that's going on around you that
Hmm.
this is how you do things. These are the steps that we take. These are the outcomes we're going to get. We
Right,
go to school and then we get a job and then, we maybe get married and you get a house and you do these things and it doesn't have to be scripted like that, and there's so many important, like, fun, beautiful moments all
hmm,
along the way, and I think a lot of us are looking for those milestones all the time.
right,
It's like, and a lot of times you hit that milestone and you feel empty because all you did is work and you didn't notice the
right,
people who were around you, would take time to rest and have fun and
right,
reflect. And then you get what you were told you were supposed to have and you got the outcome that you wanted, but you're not any happier.
right.
Like,
Well, and a
what's the
lot of
point of that?
times, like you just said, right? You have this script, but a lot of times you're living somebody else's expectation of what you were programmed,
Absolutely.
right? And so that's somebody else's expectations. So you really have to decide what you really want and how you want to govern your future and your path and your journey and how you move forward with things,
I
right?
think that's kind of difficult, and I think that's part of, like, the whole trusting the process
Mm-hmm.
thing, is actually realizing, like, so you got handed this script or this program that got handed down from someone who handed it down to them, who handed
Right,
it down to them, and after a while, you find yourself working for reasons that you don't even really understand.
right.
It's just because that's what everyone expects. So
Yeah,
that's what we all start doing. And then if you don't take the time to kind of, like, watch things as they unfold and be present during that, like, you're missing all the best parts.
yeah, totally. 100% agree.
So, I we just kind of covered this
Yes,
next question as we chatted, which was, how does staying present help with trusting the process? And I think we
yeah,
pretty much just covered that one. So
yes.
I'll go to the next question.
Okay.
What can someone do when they feel like things aren't going as they planned?
Yes,
Which will always happen. So,
yes, totally. Um, it's so natural to feel doubt in these moments, right? So, but remember that setback is just a part of the process, right? And there's teachable moments in everything, right? And so sometimes setbacks really help us problem solve. It's not a sign for you to give up. It's not a sign for you to tell you, you're not doing it right or anything. These are opportunities to learn, opportunities to grow. Trust that even when things don't seem to be going right, you'll still be moving forward, right? You're still participating in it. It's still yours. So still move forward and learn from whatever the setback is, right? What is that teachable moment in that setback? What happened that setback came into play, right? And then every challenge brings you closer to where you're meant to be. And so that is a huge, huge process. There are so many times in life where we're just like, oh my God, this moment in time is so stressful and this moment in time is so overwhelming. But you have to know that you are exactly where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. It's what you take out of it, right? It's what
mhm.
you learn from it, and it's how you move forward, how you pivot in that moment is really the whole reason why you're in that moment, right? So did that answer the question?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we kind of got around there. And if anyone, feels like they need more clarity on this,
Okay.
feel free to leave it in the comments and we'll get back to you on,
Sure.
hopefully with a clearer answer. So we're gonna wrap up. I think we touched on like so much of this though
Yeah.
as we chatted through this. It's just honestly, it's all about taking time to stop and smell the roses. If
Yes.
as long as you're not allergic to them, then it's all good. So no, I'm sorry. I don't know when to stop myself sometimes. All right. So Heather, I'd like to ask if you have any final pieces of advice for anyone really struggling with trusting in the process right now. What can
Yeah.
you tell them?
Keep showing up, right? Keep showing up as the best you. Know that the best you right now isn't the best you later. Knowing that every time you show up, you're showing up as your best, and your best looks different all the time. Keep nurturing the roots of the seed, right? Keep watering it, keep giving it love. It'll grow. Be patient with yourself on your journey, unfolding that lesson, really, that whatever lesson you're supposed to learn on this journey for wherever you're going, whatever your process is right now, whatever you're trying to get through, whatever you're trying to cultivate, it is all about like really just honing in on it. So trust that your bloom is coming. You just have to give it time.
So much growth in this episode, like flowers and plants and roots and growing. I love it.
I know. And we're in fall. What are we doing? This
I don't know.
was
We're
a spring
backwards.
episode, was it not?
But we had the Zumpkins, so they're very
We did.
fall.
Pumpkin. We did
We
have
introduced those, so that's a fall thing. Yay. All right. So this was a beautiful conversation. Like, what a great reminder that we really need to pay attention to the journey. Like, that's it. Like, that's where all of the best moments happen. Like, life happens while you're making other plans.
Yes.
So pay attention to all the stuff that's happening, like while you're making your plans,
Right.
while you're like moving towards that, because that's where all those like little gems come in there, and there's so much to learn. Yeah, so I just basically, the journey's as important as the destination. So for all of you listening, I hope today's episode helps you feel a little more patient and trusting in your own process. Don't forget, Heather and I both have weekly blogs. I'm over at 5 Minutes for Me, and she is at See Life as a Muse. And we dive deeper into these topics. Be sure to check out those for more inspiration. As always, thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay present, trust the process, and take care of yourself.
Yes. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe or follow us wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on social media for more updates. See you next time.